Kids was how it started out, because after 9/11, we realized that there was not anything out there for kids to help them understand what was going on at the time.
Okay.
I've been meditating all my life. I grew up in an ashram, so the environment is conducive to that. There's no loud music. It's just a place where you can go to meditate. A lot of people come there, during the day after work to do yoga classes or to meditate in the evenings. We were actually living there. My dad and my mom visited an ashram in Bahamas with the guru was Swami Vishnudevananda, who's not alive anymore. He became their guru, and he asked us if we would like to live at the ashram, and that's how it started.
Nice.
We grew up meditating at 5:30 in the morning, waking up and meditating from like 6 to 7, like an hour before going to school.
Sure.
This process that we did as kids was very difficult for us because it was more of the traditional style where you sit cross-legged and you sit up straight, you close your eyes, and you try to still the mind. Which, if you ask a 4 or 5-year-old kid to do that, it's almost impossible because our bodies are made to move. It was very difficult, but the benefits were amazing. I mean, I didn't even know it at the time, but when I went to school and just saw how other kids reacted to peer pressure, to stress, to tension, it surprised me because they didn't have the foundation to go within to dissolve a lot of that stress. And I didn't know that meditation would serve me so well until those moments came up in my life, and I realized I had that to fall back on. So at that time I was really happy I had it. I just did enjoy the process. So with New Age kids, I thought, after having kids myself, I really wanted them to learn meditation, but I didn't want to have them go through that. When I left the ashram and went away to college, I was so happy, and I went the exact opposite way. I went into the world of acting, into modeling, and just really immersing myself in doing something totally different than that, because I wanted to see what the world was like. Now, of course, I'm coming back to it after having kids and wanting them to be stable and live from the self rather than the ego self, which I saw so much of in that world. So that's how I developed New Age Kids, was because after 9/11, when I sensed there were so many kids out there, so many of their friends that they brought home had so many questions, and nobody knew how to answer to a child about terrorism and what was going on in the world, and because everyone was fearful, and you could sense the fear all around you. So, I told my kids, you can just meditate on it before you go to bed at night and just clear the mind and really go to that place of inner peace, and whatever questions you have, you can ask yourself. And I would guide them within and do it that way. When I went to the stores, I found nothing for kids, and I realized there was a market for it, and that's why I started the CDs. Since then, I've had a lot of parents respond and say, you've done this great thing for kids, what do you have for us? So I couldn't change the name New Age Kids, but I did add products for conception, for pregnancy, for childbirth, and then for just a traditional style of meditation, manifesting for the chakras, all those for adults. That way I take children from before they're born through the process of the pregnancy and then childbirth and then into the world where they're then able to use meditation here. So that was the process.
That's amazing.
Everyone in the ashram had to wake up at a certain time. There was a bell that rung, and we all had to sit there for that amount of time. Of course, nobody knows what's actually happening when your eyes are closed. So, I would look around and be like, God, what is everyone doing? And no one really explained the process to me other than close your eyes and focus on the point between the eyebrows and try to clear your thoughts. And if anyone's ever tried that, your mind is like a drunken monkey. It goes from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. And if you tell the mind not to think, it wants to think even more. With guided meditation, I would sometimes tell myself stories in my meditations and guide myself within, and the realms that I would go to are what I use in my meditations. So, and I found that effective because I was able to, in that place, ask these mythical creatures, and that's what I use as their guides, as the children's guides, questions, and really it's just my higher self answering. I would use these forms to be able to communicate whatever I needed to and express myself, and the questions that I would ask, I would receive answers. And so, I mean, it's just, if you really are able to contact the self, it is all-knowing. You know, it is ever-present everywhere, and it's the source of all this creation.
Yeah.
And when you understand that, you can then learn to create your world consciously. And that's kind of where I want kids to start going with all of this, is becoming conscious creators.
Yeah.
To be able to live their life from their choices and be responsible for the choices that they make.
Yeah.
So when you experience that self, you are able to, I guess, gain a sense of self. So when the peer pressure happens, which it will in school, because that's just the way kids are, you can then know how much you will do and how much you won't do. And every choice that you make is now your own choice. You can't say someone made me do it.